I have a question. As I can see, American films are adding Chinese elements to get it released in the film, to adding Chinese elements to get it released in China. But as I can see, I think they are treating all these elements very simple, like Transformers flying beyond the Great Wall, or just as she has sailed from China in Alice in Wonderland. So my question is, are there any design or to add anything like more related to the characters? I mean, what Chinese character, what are in Americans' eyes of Chinese characters? That I can see in the past film history, they're all bad guys, you know, from the 1930s to 1990s, even in Martin Scorsese's film. So if we do co-production, are there any chance do we have Chinese characters, more detailed Chinese character in American film?
Again, I think we're at that time right now when it's going to happen. The big American companies are here seeking the right story vehicles that will work cross-culturally, and I think the world wants it. I think that China wants it. I mean, your culture and your heritage is remarkable. It's rich and beautiful, and I think that, you know, all that needs to happen is to have the right execution of that put into the right vehicle, and 100% it'll happen.
I love that question so much because I think you're exactly right that sometimes people just try to check a box as opposed to making it a real part of the story. I mean, we even have that in America. You know, the networks are always saying, hey, you know, we need more diversity in the casting of these shows. And a lot of times, you know, people just say, oh, okay, well, that means that we'll add this 10th most important character and consider that box checked, as opposed to, how about the lead? And just changing their ethnicity, you know, and not making it a point. Like, it's just, oh, here's a great actor and a great character who happens to be from a different part of the world. No questions asked. I think people sometimes treat it as a chore as opposed to an organic story point. And if we can get to that point where it's what you said, where it's just everyday life, you know, just like with interracial romance, where it's not a point of the story, it just is. Oh, the couple, it isn't a point of the story, it's just we happen to be different.
I think the past few years, it is all kind of related with the rise of China, you know, with Asian Americans in Hollywood rising and really delivering a craft that they weren't doing 10, 20 years ago. You know, if you look at one of the real popular shows, the new show in America, it's, you know, Fresh Off the Boat. And you've never seen Asians portrayed as an Asian family like the Huxtables, like these, you know, classic American shows, but it's got a very Chinese twist to it. But the twist is something they're very proud of. It's not make fun of them. If you watch the show, you'll see. And it is kind of all related. And I think, you know, there's perhaps a, you know, conspiracy theory that Hollywood is deliberately keeping down these things. I think it's really not that complicated. You have studio heads and heads of productions that they have the greenlight movies all year, and it's easier to greenlight movies that have reference points in the past that have worked. So if you show them something with a Chinese lead, they're like, we don't have any reference points. Why should I get behind it and say it? If I approve this and we make it and it bomb, I'm fired. So who's gonna make up for his loss or her loss when they take a risk like that, right? It's not so much there's a lot of deliberate attempt not to do this. I think it's just the success and the reference points that they're looking at. You know, it's unfortunately not very colorful.
I agree. I think that Hollywood is given too much credit. It's a very slow evolving thing, and I think that it is behind culturally, not just with China, but with many other subcultures in the world and even inside the United States. I think that it is yet to fully embrace and represent the best of certain subcultures.
On my new show, I'm actually there's a young writer on the writing staff who is Chinese. And she came in and she has this amazing story of what it was like for her her parents were immigrants, did not speak English at all, and being raised as a small girl in this country that she didn't quite understand. And I'm hiring her because she has a great story to tell, which is, I'm doing a show about being lost in space. And her, as a child, came to America and was trying to survive as well. She was lost in this new world that she didn't understand. So I'm hiring her specifically because of her background. And I think, you know, that is a great thing where all of a sudden we're starting to see the value of people who bring different points of view into the writer's room. And then that will start affecting the stories, which will then lead to, hopefully, we're all telling universal movies. It's not Chinese story, American story, it's a global story, and we all love it.
Getting back to your point about co-production, so let's just hypothetically think right now, there's a project that's submitted by a U.S. producer, right? And then you can participate as a co-production. And it's written the way it is, and as a co-production, you have the, maybe influence to change one of the lead characters, one of the heroes into Chinese. And the other side obliged and said, okay, let's do it. We're investing in this together, and let's do it. Chances are, that probably project's not very good because they just gave away creative control, whatever they want, just to get your money. So you could get all this stuff. If the project's no good, the movie's made, nobody likes it. What's the point of doing that? What do you achieve? You made a movie. Yeah, you got Chinese actors in it, but it's a movie nobody really cares about. So it comes down to the material. It's got to be good. It's got to be organic. Co-production, sure. If it's organic, it makes sense.
I would also like to challenge the creators in China to imagine worlds which are neither American or Chinese, that are completely unique and created different. And inside of that world, all different apparent races are living according to the rules of that world that are not either Chinese or American.
There was a series of Jet Li movies made in the United States in the late 90s, and I'm an action movie geek, and I love them. They were made by Luc Besson's company. It was Kiss of the Dragon and Romeo Must Die. And I'm not a producer, but these were movies that were made for a very marketable cast member, and they would have been natural co-productions, but it was before that whole era. They were just making a great movie for a great actor, and they are so much fun to watch, and they're well written, they're great characters, and Jet Li beats up a whole bunch of really dumb white people, and it's just, so it's possible. There's just different, maybe the responsibility is on us as creators to be creative.
So something like that, if you think about how did that happen, right? You from my understanding, Joe Silver made a bet, before those movies, he made Lethal Weapon, right? And then he decided to make Jet Li the main antagonist. And the audience resonated to it. It was the coolest, toughest action guy since Bruce Lee. Jackie is great, but Jackie's funny, he's comedy, right? This is a very badass guy. So Joe Silver said, let's go and make some of these movies. So he put his reputation on the line, right? So you need decision makers who have the ability, who's working right now, and I think maybe Chris Wu right now, maybe Donnie, right? They're working on XXX right now. That works. That can maybe, if it's a younger superhero, maybe Hollywood would put Chris Wu in it, because they know they'll get the China audience, and he comes out great in this movie. Maybe it's Donnie, maybe it's Jiang Wen,